Edward Snowden is a U.S. specialist who worked for the CIA and the NSA. And indeed, these two military intelligence gathering corporations have seen themselves at ends, especially because Edward Snowden had released significantly impacted, significantly important and top secret uh, files to the general public, and indeed he is being charged with espionage. But what exactly was in these documents that were so top secret? The Washington Post of July 31st, 2013 reports that the information within these documents was the United States firing on civilians and other top classified information of this type of sort. It was basically anti-American sentiment that can be spread globally, and indeed this has raised tensions and pro-anti sentiment globally. And therefore, the United States had found themselves at ends when Vladimir Putin of the president of Russia, had granted asylum to Edward Snowden and had let him basically off the hook for a year. Now, although we don't know the situation going on right now with Edward Snowden, we can clearly see that this has raised tensions between the United States and Russia, to which President Obama had canceled this summit, which was planned for next month, and with the fate of two of the world's most significant superpowers. The Council on Foreign Relations was forced to ask the question: what will the cancellation of President Obama's or the cancellation of the summit between President Obama and Vladimir Putin mean for the future of U.S.-Russia relations? And the answer to this question is unfortunately instability for the following three reasons. First, because of the Olympic Games going on in a few months, in the winter. Secondly, we're going to notice that U.S. bases and other facilities are being abandoned. And lastly, and arguably most important, because when looking at the situation, we can actually see that there are pro-isolation laws that are being strengthened in Russia. So first, we have to look to the laws that are going on in Russia as of now that are going to affect the Olympic Games in the winter of 2013. Now, according to the Economist, dated July 22nd, 2013, in Russia there are laws against gays, lesbians, and transgenders, and any such sort of those matters. And indeed, Russia has banned this completely. Now, when focusing on the situation, President Obama has even stated that if Vladimir Putin or any official that is running a majority within this area has to in fact allow for them to practice their sexuality and other such sorts. And also, when looking at the situation, we can see that Vladimir Putin had stood strong to his word and is not actually seeming to allow for this, and indeed to allow an exception for this. And indeed, the Congress of Russia has been iffy on the situation, especially because if they're going to make an exception for a small portion, they're going to have to make it for an even larger portion in the near time future. And indeed, according to the Russian Times of just yesterday, they had reported that when looking at this situation, this had actually caused riots to go out in smaller towns near Moscow and near the capital, to which many officials have been very uneasy at the situation. And therefore, we can clearly see that there's going to be instability if the United States and Russia do not come to compromise on the situation, especially because the Olympic Games are going to cause the United States and Russia to once again meet at other ends, and overall going to raise tensions as instability is also raised. But secondly, we have to look at this situation. I gotta stop saying situation. We have to look at the U.S. facilities that are being abandoned in Russia. According to El Mundo dated August 4th, 2013, that reported that U.S. facilities and U.S. bases are being decreased almost 1/3 every 3 months. And unfortunately, the United States' the United States' funding um, had actually just gone into isolation. These facilities are being abandoned, and the United States isn't able to use its facilities, which is a which is directly going against the treaties and the agreements that the United States had actually, or not treaties, just agreements that the United States had signed with Russia, and therefore we can clearly see that the situation is becoming even more uneasy, with the United States unable to secure its facilities within the country, and therefore the United States unable to centralize within Russia and our troops in Russia. We can clearly see that the United States is instability is being raised because the United States isn't able to negotiate with Russia, as they are also closing down our facilities that they have no legal right to do. And therefore, we can clearly see that tensions and instabilities are indeed on the rise because of the summit that is not, which also in the summit they were going to talk about. But lastly, we have to focus on pro-isolation laws going on in Russia. According to the New York Times, dated just rather, according to the New York Times, dated May 11th, 2013, there has been a ban on U.S. adoption, um, meat laws, and other such sorts, allowing the United States to have such ties to Russia. And with this type of sanction going on within the United States to Russia, we can clearly see that there is a significant instability going on. The United States actually planned on talking about this with Russia, and with Russia being uncooperative with Edward Snowden, raising tensions, we have to understand that it is in the United States' best interest to act in the way it is and to cancel it. So therefore, for the three reasons that we have discussed, we can clearly see, when re-examining today's question, what does the cancellation of of the summit between President Obama and Vladimir Putin mean for the future of Russian relations, instability, for the three reasons that we've discussed? Thank you.